Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of Bill Has Opinions, the drinking show of the Gen X problem. I'm Laura Lavoie, and I am here with Bill Perkins, who has opinions.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Hey.
How are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good.
And a happy Lundi Gras to everyone out there.
Did you see I made it a hashtag right on the screen?
Yes.
So I did that. Yeah, so tomorrow is Mardi Gras, so today we're celebrating.
We're doing it today because this is the night we do our show.
Yeah, we don't have a show on Tuesday. But how we normally open the show is, how are you doing? What's been up?
I'm doing okay. I can't complain, I guess. Yeah, it's all good. It's been we've had a mild week, which has been weird.
Yeah.
I mean, like I was saying, on Friday night it was freezing cold, right? But then it warmed back up. And it's been pleasant for a few days.
Yeah, no, Friday night was insanely cold. We stayed home. We didn't go anywhere. We just stayed, made soup. And
it was a soup night.
Stayed home.
So it was that. I was telling Laura, because before the show, I had brought a bunch of beers in, and she's like, which one of these ones you want? And one of them was a stout. And I was like, oh, I picked that up on Friday night when it was freezing. I don't want it today. Like,
right. Well, but then Saturday was freaking delightful.
Yeah.
Our neighbor texted us and said, I'm going to a brewery. You guys want to join, like an outdoor, brewery?
Yeah, I saw you went over to Turgua. However you say it. Turgua.
It was better than I expected.
All right.
I enjoyed it very much. I had been.
I passed that one on the way over here all the time, so I was curious.
Oh, that makes sense.
Because that's the way I come that route of that valley.
That makes sense. But it was, I had been informed that it was often a kid fest, which, as you know, is not my jam.
Yeah.
But I think
they don't really have, I mean, I guess there's a creek there that kids
there's a whole huge outdoor area.
Sure, but they don't have all the crap that the Whistle Hop has.
Which was packed. That same day.
After Whistle Hop put in all that stuff, I made the vow I will never go there.
Yeah, so for people that don't know, Whistle Hop is a brewery in town that decent beers, and like they have an old
two train cars.
Yeah, a couple train cars, and it's pretty cool, and it's like multi-tiered because it's built into a hill, so there's like all these tiers, but they put in like children's playground.
They put in this whole playground thing now, and every time I drive by there's like 1,000 kids just running around. So it's now like some of the breweries in town have kind of like been like, hey, could you cool it on bringing the kids around?
Put the brakes on kids.
And they leaned into it like, hey, we're the brewery to bring the kids to.
And I'm like, well, all right then.
Okay, well, that's great, but
good job.
I probably won't go there.
Correct. But Turgua has a whole huge outdoor space, and I think it was warm on Saturday, but it wasn't like hot.
Yeah. It was just enough. It was like high 60s or something.
Yeah. And it was delightful. We took the convertible down.
You put the top down, right?
Yeah, we did, although it was probably still on the cold end of putting the top down.
You put the heat on.
We did.
And you put the top down. Yeah. And I drove over here tonight like that because it was like 65.
We saw when you pulled in. It was also raining here, so we're like, that's brave.
Rain hit my windshield right when I when I was coming around 240, and I was like, hopefully I can outrun it, and I did. It was fine.
Well, that's good. That's good. Well, and otherwise, day after tomorrow, Matt and I leave for Pensacola.
Yeah.
We're going to the Pensacon. So stay tuned for updates from that in the future.
That'll be nice. Yeah.
Jill from Radiant Paws, also DragonCon, will be joining us, and we're gonna go have a good time. So
that'll be awesome. Yeah.
I'm very excited. So today and tomorrow, I'm working on finishing all my work for the entire month of February, so I don't have to do shit for the last week.
That's fair.
So I don't have. Okay. So I'm just done.
Okay. Done. Are you actually dressing up for Pensacon, or are you just?
Yeah, we're bringing costumes. Okay. You can kind of see all our stuff is on the bed behind. It's all staged. But Jill sent her requisite box of costumes.
Okay.
But she just sent 2.
Okay.
And we're bringing 2. So yeah, we'll kind of see how the wind takes us.
Okay.
If we're not feeling it, we won't. And if we are, then we will.
Yeah.
All right.
Fair.
So what are you drinking? You aren't drinking anything.
I'm not drinking any. Oh, no, because I was because I just finished one. And I was like, wait a minute. I don't want to rush through it. We'll talk about what we already have drank. How's that?
I'm going to rush through it.
First off, I had this one, Old Crisby, it's called. And I bought it because it has this, I don't know if you can see this, but it's got a 19 30s skeleton cartoon looking thing.
Yeah, I
on
love
it.
that. You can move it closer.
The style.
See it if you
Well, it's just that glares.
If you get it out of the.
There we go.
There you go.
Anyway, I thought the can was cute. Well, it turns out this is from Bromari, which all their cans are cute.
Yes.
They actually have the best can art in town. Probably with, I guess, Burial being,
but very different styles.
Very different styles.
Burial's like very heavy metal. And
yeah, and these guys are more fun or tattoos or
right,
like.
Exactly.
Anyway, you said you had some news about Bromari. You said,
well, none of it's confirmed yet, but Bromari Brewing, which is downtown Asheville, like a month or so ago, they laid off their entire staff without warning and closed the restaurant and said their tap room would be open. But anytime anyone's tried to go to their tap room, it is not open. And they may be closing. There's no official word. So if you've got yourself some Bromari beer,
you might be having the last of it.
Yeah, hold on to it or just drink the shit out of it. Yeah. Either way.
Oh, well. Anyway, what I'll say is about this crispy is it actually is crispy. It tastes, I was telling Laura, it claims to be a lager, but it's very much like, I don't know if you guys remember a couple years ago when those brutes were the thing for a minute.
Right.
Which were a very dry, I guess they were a type of lager, but they were a very dry lager.
Yeah, they were like made with champagne yeast or something, so they were really, really dry.
Yeah, so this one's kind of got that flavor. It's got that very, very, dry, abrupt, like you know, as soon as it's out of your mouth, you don't taste it no more. So anyway, that was great. Laura handed me one of these. She had one of these.
So we've got the Rabbit Lager, which is from Asheville Brewing Company, located here in Asheville, as you might imagine. But also the art is so super cool.
Yeah.
But Rabbit is actually Asheville Brewing Company's what's the word I'm looking for? Concert venue. They have a huge outdoor concert venue downtown. It's a great place to see a show. And
we have plans.
Yes, we have plans for a show in June?
Yeah, I want to say June.
So we Matt went out on an errand and found this and brought it home.
And it was delightful. I loved it. It's a very wheat forward lager beer, I guess.
Yes.
And I loved it because they've also got another lager that is very similar in flavor that I always liked called Rocket Girl that's gotten harder to find, but it's a similar taste to that one.
It's similar. Yeah, I don't believe it's a rebranded Rocket Girl. I don't think so. Although they probably use, because what's the point in reinventing the wheel? They probably use the base of Rocket Girl.
Yeah, it's probably basically that with like just maybe a hint.
Right, just a little something else.
A little something.
And then also I was drinking the Lower Falls before the show, and I'm drinking a Rabbit again right now. So
was that weird going from that back to that back?
Yes. This tastes totally different. So Lower Falls is actually it's one of the low gravity IPAs that we showcased in our low grav episode.
Yeah.
And it's an IPA. It's 3.9% alcohol, but it's not even that hoppy when you compare it to another IPA.
Right.
But it's extremely hoppy compared to this.
Yeah, because like I said, that one's very wheat forward, so it's kind of a little sweetness to it.
Yeah. So this tastes totally different after having drank one of those.
And now I'm going to drink an Edmonds Oast from Charleston, South Carolina.
Love that brewery.
Alt beer, doppel sticky alt beer.
Doppel sticky.
I guess
that sounds like it's twice as sticky as it. Don't spill it because it sounds very.
It'll get the table so sticky.
It will be so sticky. And we've had explosions on the show before, so just don't do that.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
All right.
But yes, so we're enjoying some beer.
Although it's probably going to be a tad sweet. But
it's very dark. I mean, I know it's an alt beer. It's very dark for an alt beer.
Yeah, I don't know. You know what? It doesn't taste as sweet as it looks and smells. So it's got that going for it. It looks very brown.
It does look very. That's an observation.
It tastes more red than brown. So it's okay.
All right. Well, that should be what an alt beer tastes like, I guess.
So it's good. It's got just a wee bit of something, but anyway, it'll be good with this. It'll be good with this right here.
Oh yeah, it will, which we'll show you in 1 second.
Yeah.
So, and since today's episode, we were hoping to segue. We went looking for beers that fit today's episode. Neither of us could find them.
Mm-mm.
So we're not doing that, but we are celebrating, as we pointed out, Lundi Gras, or Mardi Gras Eve, as it were.
Fat Monday.
Because of course tomorrow is Mardi Gras. Although the city of Asheville celebrated it this weekend, so like they did their parade.
Well,
yesterday.
yeah, because Asheville's not the kind of place that can shut down town on a Tuesday,
for a whole parade.
So they're going, we'll just do it when it's convenient.
Exactly. But I sent Matt out on an expedition to get some treats.
Yeah.
For tonight. So we have here. You
can't even see it.
Not really.
Oh.
There you go. A little king cake.
Oh yeah. Before the show, we pre-gamed with some.
The Zapp's.
The Zapp's Voodoo potato chips,
which are manufactured in Pennsylvania and have nothing to do with New Orleans.
But they say voodoo style kettle chips.
They do, so they're vaguely New Orleans. But I would like to point out ahead of the game that I got the baby.
Oh.
Which it's really a shame because you know my thoughts on babies.
Yeah, she doesn't want it.
I do not want it. What do you get for getting the baby? I don't actually know. I didn't even research that. What happens if you get the baby?
Maybe one of our fans can write in and tell us.
Yeah,
I don't know what it means. Is it like the I forgot. I was watching some Christmas movie and there was something. There was a cake they ate at Christmas, and if you got like a coin or something out of the cake, then it meant you didn't have to do chores that night.
Okay, I don't have to do chores tonight then.
I don't know what the baby means though.
I'm guessing the baby has a bigger significance because of the whole Lent thing, and that it probably represents the baby Jesus, and
probably
I probably have good luck for the year or something. Although to be fair, this did not come inside the cake because commercial kitchens cannot sell you something with a plastic toy inside the cake. So they don't, because if you choke on it and die, they don't want you to.
Yeah, you can't even get Kinder eggs in this country because of that.
Correct.
You can get a version of them, but they don't have the toy in the chocolate.
Oh, really? I have to bring the next king cake?
Yeah.
But I'm not going.
So you lost by getting
guess
the
I
baby.
lost, yeah. But I'm not going to an event which would involve a king cake.
Well, as long as you're not going to an event that involves a king cake, I guess you got off scot-free.
Next year. Oh, but speaking of treats, we'll get to the monologue in a second. While you eat your king cake. This is actually fucking delicious.
It really is.
By the way. Well, I'm gonna eat more after we eat dinner too.
It's basically like a big cinnamon roll.
It really is. It's delicious.
I don't know if that's what they're supposed to be, but this is what this one is.
That's what this one is. Well, this came from the fresh market here in North Asheville, but they fresh made, like it was made on the spot.
It tastes fresh, yeah.
That was, watching her make it and said, "Can I get one?" And she said yes. So, but
would have been funny if she said no.
Yeah, exactly. No, I mean that was always an option, but
it could all have been reserved.
Right, exactly. I think that was exactly.
There's a bunch of New Orleans expats that live here.
That's true. That's true, including our neighbor. Shout out to Andrew. He said he may someday watch the show.
Well, if he ever does,
he watches this one. But so speaking of which, for treats, one of the treats I wanted to get, and we'll get into this more, was a Polish Fat Tuesday treat, which is, as you can see, the actual call sign on this episode, which we will explain a little bit later. So I would have.
But I don't actually have a pass.
You don't. Oh, we're going to talk about what you just said out loud. Because if you're wondering, that's not at all how that's pronounced. But let's.
I mean, I guess I wasn't wondering until you said that, but now.
Yeah, now you are. But we'll save that for. A minute.
Man! After eating that cake, this tastes like a Dr. Pepper.
Well, why don't you give us now that you're done with your cake?
Oh,
give us our monologue.
All right. So, I was raised Baptist, so this all was not in my vocabulary. My dad's family's Catholic, but he was a Christmas and Easter Catholic, so we didn't do anything. I didn't become aware of the Lenten traditions until I was in high school when I started going to Methodist church because I got fed up with Baptist church. And the Methodists are kind of a 3 steps removed Catholic light, but they do observe the Catholic calendar, if you will, So they did Lent, and they had pancake dinners and whatnot during Lent, that sort of thing. Although that being said, I don't think Fat Tuesday was still really a thing.
No, and and we'll talk about that more. But I think Fat Tuesday is really. There are the traditions in Central and South America, but mostly it's French, French American, which New Orleans, and and then weirdly Polish, which we will also get into.
Well, I mean, those are, both heavily Catholic. It's funny that the Germans don't do anything, right? Although Germans
they're all Lutheran now.
They're all Lutheran now. Yeah, I guess they were Catholic to a point, and they switched off. They broke off of that early.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So fair. That makes sense. So yeah. I mean, I will say, yeah, because when I lived in Chicago, all the Catholic churches in Chicago were either Polish or Latino or like Italian, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like that was your deal there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
is that your whole monologue? That's it? That's everything? That's
what I know, man. Yeah, my immersion into this whole thing, I only found out about it really when we went down to New Orleans was it last winter?
Wow, last year.
Was it last?
Yeah.
That was the year I went? I can't even remember.
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
It was.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, and we went down there in late January, and I had no idea that apparently Mardi Gras starts in January and runs all the way up until Fat Tuesday down there.
Right, exactly.
Because we were trying to get a room in, actually, it wasn't even in New Orleans. It was on the Gulf Coast of Mississippi.
Mm-hmm.
And there wasn't a freaking hotel room to be had because there were all kinds of Mardi Gras shit going on down there. Some little town we drove through was having a parade. We had to go all the way around the damn town.
Exactly.
Because the parade was going on. And this was on a Saturday night, in January. And then we got to New Orleans and we found out that all those crews, which there were probably like 400 of them in New Orleans.
Right.
They either have their own parade or like 2 or 3 have a parade together.
Right.
But they start in January and they go, because they can't block off the street for all. If they had a all crew parade, it would last for 5 days probably.
Right, exactly.
So they have them by crew on different days throughout the season, basically.
Right.
We went and watched like 2, and just to say, hey, we did it. Whatever. We caught the bead. That's where these beads actually came from. So. It was a good time.
I was brought beads to wear because I did not have at all here we go. Here's some facts for you. The NBA team in New Orleans has a king cake baby mascot during, and yeah, I'm guessing you put the picture, which of course we can't translate. So definitely check the comments if you're watching this online. Because that sounds like it might be terrible. So
the team in New Orleans,
I guess used to be. Oops.
It was the Hornets that then moved to New Orleans.
Yeah, that's
and then they got the Bobcats in Charlotte, and then I guess both places were like, this doesn't have anything to do with us.
Exactly.
So they changed the names all around, and so the Hornets are back in Charlotte, but it's not those Hornets. It's another Hornets.
Exactly.
Anyway, it's all screwy, but that's neither here nor there. Although that's the same reason that the Utah Jazz used to be. It's also the New Orleans team that moved to.
Which Utah is the least jazzy place in the country. Yeah. Like, let's be honest, folks. You know who doesn't do jazz? No. Literally anyone in Utah.
They need to change their name to the Utah Temple Garments, right?
Exactly. The Utah Patriarchs. Like what? Yeah, no, and also it's the same way that the Cleveland Browns are actually not the Cleveland Browns anymore.
They're not the old Cleveland Browns.
Because the Cleveland Browns moved to Baltimore, became the Baltimore Ravens, and then the new Cleveland Browns showed up. So everybody keeps talking about they have this legacy, and it pisses me off because they don't, because their legacy should have moved to Baltimore with them, but they don't. Yeah, it's all bullshit.
Baltimore had an old team that went away from Baltimore too, didn't they?
An NFL team? I don't remember if they had an NFL team.
Maybe they didn't.
The Colts.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's right. And then the Colts moved to, so they had the Colts, the Baltimore Colts.
Yeah, I was thinking they used to have
Indiana.
a team a long time ago, and it moved away.
But they've been in Indiana
so we've been doing this whole, shuffle,
I think
three-card Monty sort of thing.
That was more in the situation where when the NFL had a team in Baltimore, we had not yet colonized west of the Mississippi.
Yeah.
Right,
because Baltimore at the time was a big city because it was one of the port cities on the East Coast.
Right, so it's like ye old Baltimore.
Ye olde Baltimore.
Yeah, ye olde Baltimore Colts. So everybody it was like revolutionary times football
Right.
is what that was. All right, so hold on. Okay, but I'm not gonna do a full monologue because I've got a lot more to talk
you
about
got
after.
stuff to talk about.
Well, only because I didn't know about Mardi Gras either growing up.
Okay.
In the place where I grew up, which we also talk about in a minute. But I was raised Catholic. Excuse me. So Fat Tuesday was only a thing for a particular reason, which we will get into shortly, but not like Mardi Gras. Like there weren't parades, there weren't that. There was just one tradition that happened, and we will discuss that in a moment.
Okay.
But in the meantime, I have something special for you.
Okay.
What we have. So we're gonna start by reminding folks that we have a TFT available, a totally fungible token that you can buy from our store, right?
Yeah.
And I would like to point out that in attempt to be an equal opportunity seller.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair.
I have created us
a second one.
Another one.
Oh gosh.
So for the ladies in the audience, and maybe in the future I'll create one for non-binary and gender non-conforming folks. But so you can get our Stay Shitty My Lady totally fungible token. You can buy actually going to a shop.
Yes.
And giving us cash money dollars or credit. You can get a item that will be yours forever.
Yeah.
And
you can pass it down to other generations.
Just like it'll be fungible. Though.
It's totally fungible.
100% fungible.
And tangible.
Yeah.
Also.
You can get this in a variety of things, including bathroom.
So what's
signs.
this one got a bat on it?
It's a bat, yeah.
Okay.
A bat wearing a fedora.
Well, this is my lady. It's tip of the hat. Tip of the fedora to you, my lady. Right?
Well, to compare, right? Our skeleton is wearing a bowler.
Yes.
So I had to come up with a different hat.
I had never noticed this in previous viewings of this, but this is one of those fancy new toilets that's got the double flush.
It does, yes. That was
press 1 for number 1. Press 2 for number 2.
So please buy it. So you can buy this as a sign. You can buy it as a bathroom rug, as a shower curtain. You can also buy a t-shirt.
Wouldn't it really tie the bathroom together?
It would tie the bathroom together. So please pay us money and own this, because why wouldn't you? But also, I'm actually thinking about buying one of these t-shirts, and I think you should buy the other one, and we should wear it one day at Dragon Con.
Oh, yes.
Just walking around with it.
Because people ask us about it.
Yeah, what the fuck is that?
What button this is? Ask me about my t-shirt.
Exactly. A really big button.
Oh, yeah, like the biggest.
Wait, you can't see our
like the one that's like the size of a saucer.
Ask me about my t-shirt. Exactly. So I wanted to point that out. Make sure people buy our totally fungible tokens at threadless.com. Bill has Opinion store. Buy some t-shirts. Buy some bathroom signs. Because
these are delightful, and who wouldn't want them?
And I would say, quantity's limited, but to be fair, it's print on demand, so everybody can own one.
Sure.
We
can put one in every house in the country.
That's my goal. That was a chicken in every pot,
and a station,
and a Stay Shitty poster in every bathroom. Yes, that is correct.
We should pay for one or two of them and just frame them ourselves, and then sneak into a place with low bathroom security and hang them up in a public bath.
Oh, we should hang them up in the bathroom in the Sheridan.
Oh yes,
where we
my favorite bathroom.
The
Absolutely,
we should totally get a couple of them and hang them there.
Yes,
yeah.
We'll
just
see
what.
Remind me of that when it gets closer to September.
All right, I will.
Good times.
So that said, all right, let's go back to the subject at hand.
Okay.
So let's talk real quick. We'll go back to New Orleans and music and parades and all that fun stuff in a second. But the tradition I spoke of previously, which I could not acquire an approximation before the show, because now I live in North Carolina and it's nigh impossible. Although I did, well, that's another story.
You can find a lot of expat communities in Asheville, but probably a Midwestern Polish community is not one of them.
I believe I am it.
You're it.
That's me. I am the Polish expat. Yeah, that's me. But so this, in case you're wondering, this product.
I think I actually read a thread. Sorry, I was going to interject for a second. I read a thread on the Hendersonville forum on Facebook where somebody was asking where you could find them, and everybody was like, "Yeah, no, you got to get your grandma to make that."
Although I'll tell you, I did today. I learned that there is a place that will sell them.
Mm-hmm.
There's a European market in Arden.
Okay.
You could order them today, but you would have to pick them up. Like they weren't available today. It was all special order, and we couldn't get them until tomorrow.
Gotcha.
At which point it'd be useless because the whole reason I wanted to get them was so that you could experience the punchki. But let me. So where does this tradition come from?
Poland.
Also, yes, but yes, it does come from Poland. And as you can see, so this what you said was a pazki.
Yeah, I think it said Paxi or something.
Paxi.
Paxi.
But it is neither of those.
Yeah, it's got a little thing under the A. I don't even know what that means.
Me neither. But I know because I am both from Detroit and Polish that this word is pronounced punchki.
Good God.
Punchki. Punchki. Like, yeah.
Why don't we do to European languages what we do to the Cherokee language? Just write it the way it says.
I think as a kid, I honestly thought it was spelled Poonschki. Like, I'm pretty sure I thought that's how it was spelled.
Poonchi would
Punchki.
Sorry, Key. Oh, Key.
Punchki. Yes.
Or Ki, I guess.
So,
the Ki makes sense, but everything else.
Everything before that, yeah. Apparently, P whatever A that is, CZ is
Z in Eastern European languages is never what you think it is.
No, not at all, not at all. But so this is a photograph of punchkis. So if you might imagine, punchkis are basically filled donuts.
Boston cream donut.
But they're not. No, not at all. Punchkis are, so the Lenten tradition, right? So Fat Tuesday is, Wednesday is Ash Wednesday. It starts the whole Lenten tradition.
Oh, yeah. I forgot all about that. There'll be somebody that I'll mistakenly tell on Wednesday, hey, you got something
on your head.
Yeah. I made that mistake before.
Exactly. What do you got?
You got something all over your... Oh, yeah. Okay, never mind.
Yeah. But the Polish tradition that actually came from Poland was that you had to, before you could enter this 40 days of fasting and Lent, you would use all of your reserves of everything you had left to make things that you would eat on Fat Tuesday. And so punchkis are actually made with, a traditional punchki is made with lard. Because you would use up all your lard.
Okay.
And then your flour and all the stuff that you have. And
so they would be the greasiest, deep friedest of donuts.
Yes. And they literally weigh like 100 pounds.
Because all that lard.
It's just straight
so
up.
they're not just fried, they're like soaking in fucking grease.
Yes, because they are fried, but then they're also like, instead of
You don't put a paper towel under them when you're done. You just let them.
Oh yeah.
You just let them congeal.
Let them congeal.
That white stuff in the middle. That's all grease. That's just congealed grease.
As it turns out, so they are filled for some reason, and they are also powdered. But they are filled, and usually, like a jelly donut, they're usually filled with like jams and things. Again, that was a way to use up the stuff you had.
Anything that tasted good.
Anything that tasted good, you had to get rid of it. So like raspberry jam, whatever jam you had. But I don't like fruit, as we've established on previous. So I would eat, this is a custard filled as pictured here. I would eat the custard filled, or my favorite were actually like the chocolate cream filled. Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly, Jay. This is correct. They typically clock in at around 400 calories per punchki.
And you're going to eat 3 of them.
Oh, God, yes. Like, there's no way. You can't not. Like, you try.
No, I can look at them and tell you I wouldn't eat one. I've never eaten a single donut and been like, well, that'll do.
Yeah, exactly. So by the end of Fat Tuesday, well, and I guess the idea, although we're not bears, right? Our physiology is not the same, but part of it, I think, was if I eat all of this now, then my 40 days of fasting
I can spend the first 4 days being ill.
Yeah, exactly.
And not wanting to eat at all. Like, I'm going to be like, oh my God, I'm sick in my stomach. And then I'll worry, like the middle of next week, then I'll worry about, I guess I could eat some beans or something.
I guess some beans. Just unflavored
I'll eat rice because my stomach's still a little weird.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
I gotta get over that.
And we'll get back to that because Mardi Gras, of course, is the beginning of Lent season. So we're gonna circle back around. But I had to show you the punchkis and describe how. Do you need another beer?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I don't. I absolutely don't. I was just, for some reason, I was like, the cat. Like,
do I need another beer? I do not. But am I going to have one?
Absolutely.
Yes, I am.
You should.
Because it's Fat Monday.
Fat Monday, yeah.
Also, by the way, I'm leaving this week on vacation where it will be
fat all week.
Week of excess. So it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. Although one of these places you'll go is to the fish house.
Yes.
On Friday, probably.
Probably. That's true. That's actually fair. We should go to the fish house on purpose. So, So being raised Catholic and in a non-Mardi Gras place, like where you didn't have that Mardi Gras Tuesday experience, the big experience for Lent for me was fish on Fridays.
Yeah.
Like, we literally observed nothing for Lent, like other than you give up something like just a weird habit or whatever. Like I give up chocolate, which literally does nothing for you on an atonement level. Just like, I'm going to give up chocolate, and then you eat chocolate like a week later and you're like, well, I guess I didn't give up chocolate.
Oh, well, I guess God's mad at me now.
Exactly. But otherwise, the only other thing like we did growing up was not eat fish on Fridays. So we would go to like for those 40 days until Easter, we would be regulars at Red Lobster or Long John Silver.
Okay. The churches didn't have fish fries?
Ours did not. No, because that's the thing about Midwestern churches. Is this is not a community activity. Not like Southern churches.
Okay, because I will say this, even though it's not a huge fucking deal in the South, they do have like activity, they'll have like, and it's mostly a fundraiser for the church, but like pancake dinner this Friday or whatever. And, when you come in and,
every once in a while, a church would do a thing. But to be fair, religion in the Midwest tends to be a fairly solitary activity. Like there were no social hours after church. I guess there was some other churches,
so I'm sorry, this is going to be like one of those, you can roll the clip.
Even though I don't have a clip.
No, you have a clip.
Do I? Oh, I do have a clip?
Yeah, you know the one
I do have that clip?
Yeah.
Wait, which of the clips am I doing?
The
This one?
No.
The other one?
Yeah, that one.
This one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, I just want to mention this. So in the South, I would say the reason everything is centered around church is mostly it's networking. I'd say I don't even think most people in the South really they'll put on a good show of acting like they believe in it, but I don't think they really even believe in this shit.
Sure, I think that's fair.
It's all networking. It's just I guess maybe in Detroit the Kiwanis Club is a bigger deal.
The Knights of Columbus,
whatever,
but only men.
Okay.
Right?
Well, that's what, because, but it's still, they're going to get together and trade business cards. And, if I need a lawyer, this is the guy I'm going to talk to. And if I need a real estate agent, this is the guy. That's all fucking church is. 9% of it. Yes. People are at church to fucking network. Okay. That's why we had all the social shit, like the social life circles around church. I mean, we have, to be fair, we have Lions Club and Kiwanis and all that bullshit. But I don't think it's as big a deal if you've got a strong church community because you'll get your real estate from someone at church.
Right, exactly. Well, and Jay, his church did fish fries. That's fair. Also, to be fair, my church was very suburban and very Vatican II, which we actually have an episode coming up where we'll discuss that a little bit more. So to explain Vatican II to you would be challenging in this episode.
I didn't even see the first one.
Yeah. I mean, it's, sequels are never as good as the original. But, so our church was very hands-off. Like, you showed up for mass, you did mass, you immediately left. Like, there was no interaction.
They didn't even do donuts in the graveyard?
No. We didn't have a graveyard at our church.
Oh, gosh. Man, weird. That's the only thing I remember about the Catholic Church, by the way. Because the one or two times my dad drugged me to the Catholic Church was you get out of. Well, the other thing I remember was the stand up, sit down, kneel. Sit down. You did the whole like, hey Macarena, whatever, and then when the service was over, you'd walk outside and some nun would be standing out in the cemetery with a bunch of donuts.
See, I would have appreciated that.
And that was the thing that the kids were all just like, I guess we'll go get donuts.
But I've got a lot of thoughts about my brand of Catholicism, but that's a show for another time.
Okay, well, there you go.
All right, so let's swing back around. So we talked a little bit about New Orleans.
Yeah.
Oh wait, I wanted to point out before we do that that Punchki Day has turned into kind of a St. Patrick's Day, so bars open early. And to that point here, I wanted to, because I forgot to make a slide of this. So as you can see, there's a name of a city here. This is much like Punchki. How would you pronounce the name of this city?
Well, it sounds like I'm on a train to go get some pork products, is what it sounds like.
And it looks like it should be pronounced Hamtramck, right?
Hamtramck.
Hamtramck.
Yeah.
So
yeah. What is it really, though?
It's actually Hamtramck. So you have to say it.
There's vowels in there that don't exist.
There's vowels that don't exist, for sure. So I meant to make like a Punchki.
Oh, so it's like when you make up the vowels in someone's vanity license plate.
Yeah, okay. Exactly. I think that explains the Polish language, to be fair.
Ham sandwich. I like that too.
Yeah. So yes, ham sandwich is definitely a thing. But yeah, Hamtramck is actually a really cool part of town because it was the Polish community and it's fully encircled by Detroit. It's its own city.
Oh, it's like Fulton City in Atlanta. Or Decatur in Atlanta.
Yeah, but not even really. No, because Decatur is not bordered on all sides by
But Fulton
Atlanta.
City is.
There is no Fulton City. Fulton County. But that's different.
No, there's a place called Fulton City.
There is not. I lived there for over 10 years.
Isn't it bullshit? It's like no, it's one of the, or there's some place in the south side of town, I can't remember, that is a separate municipality. It's not Atlanta, but it's circled entirely by Atlanta. Maybe it's not that. I don't know. I remember reading something about what a pile of horseshit it was. As I recall, there's only one. I think it's all just a business district, and there's one person who lives there who's the only voter in that district.
Oh yeah. But Hamtramck is a thriving city, and it's its own city. Like it's not even a voting district; it's an actual. It's just city.
That Detroit grew out and surrounded it.
It circles the entire thing. But it was the Polish community at the time, surrounded by Detroit. So it's a really, really cool city. I've definitely partied in Hamtramck.
Okay. This is another aside, which is gonna. We don't have to go deep into it, but I was just curious: how many people still maintain a completely Polish identity in this day and age?
That is a crazy question, right? But because I would argue that the certainly my argument would be as a Polish American myself, like especially in Detroit where it was a Polish community surrounded by another community, you almost didn't have just straight Polish bloodlines anymore. It's not like anybody was just Polish.
Okay.
I am Polish and 3/4 Canadian. And some of that is Ontario and some of that's French Canadian. So I am Polish, but I do not maintain like I am Polish, like I have a Polish identity.
Yeah.
And to be fair, in the 60s, in like the 50s and 60s, the Polish in Detroit were very discriminated against.
Okay.
Like other white people did not like the Polish.
Oh yeah.
Including people.
They went as far as to tell jokes about their insulting their intelligence.
But it wasn't like it was a joke, but it wasn't a joke.
It wasn't a joke.
No.
Okay.
Not at all.
So this was always funny to me because growing up in the South, of course, we don't really have a Polish community, but those jokes made their way around because I guess they just. Of course, they made the rounds,
and they're kind of like super racist because I mean
we were always like
they're not racist,
but we didn't even know we didn't really even know what the fuck a Polak was.
Exactly. Because
it was like the same thing, like when you meet somebody from New Jersey and they tell you about like how they used to like get in fights, and their parents always told them like you gotta like. If it's fine if you want to fight this person, but you don't want to fight a Dago or whatever because 3 of their friends will jump you. And I was like, the fuck, like the whole idea that white people hated other kinds of white people.
And also, I will tell you, I hate racial slur, or I hate ethnic slurs against other people, including that one,
Okay.
including.
So to me, it's all just fucking novelty because, like I said, we don't like in the South. That wasn't a fucking thing, and I'm not saying like because we're obviously we had our own fucking things,
right? Yeah,
it's just because there's one kind of white people in the South. That's really all it amounts to, except for there's a handful of Greeks, but they just run restaurants. That's like there's a Greek family in every town in the South, and they run the diner.
The diner, yeah, that's true. That's true in the North too.
But aside from those Greeks that ran that diner, everybody else was basically just like, just Scotch Irish,
generically white.
Yeah, and so the idea when I first learned these words, I was like, the fuck is that shit? That's crazy to me that like white people hate other kinds of white people. Weird. Okay, but whatever.
But even people in my parents' generation would use those terms.
Yeah, no,
derogatorily.
Well, that's what I heard. A friend of mine whose parents were from Buffalo, and they moved down to South Carolina in the 70s. But anyway, he would tell me that his parents would say these crazy things, and he'd be like, "What? Like, what are you talking about?" And so apparently, if you're from somewhere in the Rust Belt, that's a thing. Like you will hate other kinds of white people instead of people who are quite obviously different than you. Although you shouldn't hate anybody because people are all fucking people,
right? And we shouldn't use ethnic or racial slurs or any of those.
You want to hate people? It should be because of the bumper stickers on the back of their trucks. That's the way I look at it.
That's fair. No, I mean, isn't that we have veered so far from the topic of the show?
Oh,
but isn't that the problem with all the snowflake bullshit, like hating woke culture, right?
Okay.
All the presumably very white conservative people, majority white conservative people, get mad because the rest of the country isn't tolerant of their beliefs,
right?
But you're the ones who get everything else. Like you hate everyone.
Well, I mean, it's just if your whole fucking culture is the shit that you hate,
right?
It's like and we've had these conversations because I'll say this: Laura has taught me to stop being a yum-yucker about things, right? Like if you don't like a thing, that's like just fucking move on, right? Like it's not a personality trait to dislike things.
Right. Right. And it doesn't serve the person you're talking to. I really like a thing. And I
think it was kind of a 90s Gen X like sarcasm thing that kind of like it went too far.
Went a little too far.
Yeah. But I'm over it now. I don't give a fuck. Like, whatever you're into. Fuck it, whatever.
Right, just let people like things.
People can like things.
People can like anything they want as long as
it doesn't affect other people.
Yeah, as long as it's not bigoted, racist, sexist, transphobic, and homophobic, exactly. And I'm sure a variety of other things. That's
the thing. Once it gets to where it affects other people, then I'm like, okay, now it matters. But if it doesn't affect anyone else, like you fucking love Taylor Swift, I don't like Taylor Swift. Who gives a shit?
Right, because what's the point? What are you going to serve by saying, "Oh, I can't believe you like Taylor Swift."
Like other geek types who like piss and moan about fucking sports ball,
right?
I'm like, shut the fuck up. There's something you like that's dumb. Like there's no point in this. Like, I'm so. Oh, look at me. I don't like the Super Bowl. Like, I mean, I don't care about the Super Bowl, but I'm not gonna give y'all shit about liking the Super Bowl. Like, whatever. It passes the time the same as some other fucking stupid endeavor.
Like binge watching Firefly.
Exactly. Why keep crying about a fucking show that's been off the air for 20 years? Doesn't that seem as dumb as liking the Super Bowl?
At least there are always new episodes of the Super Bowl.
Exactly. Every year they're going to put out a new one.
There's a whole new episode. And that season finale is going to be great. It's been going on.
Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. That's a whole fucking thing that didn't have anything to do with this.
Lord, but it feels like this Lent for us is an airing of grievances.
Maybe
we're gonna give up.
It's like Festivus.
It's like Festivus. But maybe starting Wednesday we'll give up the I don't know, ranting.
Oh, well, that would suck for the next month on this show, but okay.
All right, but we probably should circle back a little bit.
I'll give it up for a week. How about that?
Okay.
All right.
Let's circle back just a smidge.
Okay.
Because
we got to go back to the things, the subject at hand.
back. I mean, to be fair, we've used up most of the show just ranting about stuff. So
that's what people like.
People do like it. That's why people are here, folks. That's what you're here for. But let's go back. So New Orleans. So I talked a lot about Midwest Fat Tuesday traditions, which are mostly about like eating everything you can until you fast for 40 days. And then suddenly things are miraculously better again. I don't even really know the purpose of it, to be fair. But New Orleans.
So was it because Jesus spent 40 days in the wilderness?
I guess.
He basically was doing what the Native Americans would call a vision quest.
Sure.
He went out into the desert and he didn't eat or drink anything for 40 days, and then the devil came to him and tempted him or whatever the fuck, but probably wasn't the devil. He's probably just losing his mind.
He's hallucinating
from
a little bit.
Being starved and dehydrated.
Yeah, like in our cults episode, I talked about the cult that our friend used to be in, where the people, they went out on their like silent 40-day retreat. Yeah. And two of them decided they needed to get further away from the rest of the group, and then they died. Oh. Because, or at least one of them died. Because that's what happens.
It's a thing that can happen to you if you're out in the desert and you don't eat or drink. You might die.
Assuming there was a historical Jesus, which is another conversation.
That's a whole other thing. I think that's the basis.
That would be the basis.
It's because of that, I think.
But then was that vision quest technically associated with Easter? Like, did that happen right before? Like, did he roll out to this vision quest and then just come back into town and be like, folks, I'm about to die. You're going to betray me. You're going to lie about it.
I'd have to reread the whole story.
Because
I don't know. I think that was the basis of it.
I think the mythology tends to roll over on itself a bunch of times. So
it's because you got four guys who tell the same story four different ways.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And they're not even all the same guys.
They're not coherent,
And they're only four of the guys, and then the two of the guys.
They chucked some of the other guys out.
Wrote some other stuff.
Because this didn't line up with the other stories.
But the letters from those guys are still important, I guess.
Yeah.
We are actually, I do have slated in the future a religion episode.
Okay.
So we can get to that.
We can talk about that. But speaking of Lent, I gave up religion for Lent one year and it stuck.
You never quite came back to it.
Yeah.
All right, let's real quick. So let's circle back to New Orleans, because the whole point is that in New Orleans, where Polish people just eat a bunch of really fat donuts, the French Catholics of New Orleans, they go all the fuck out.
They eat everything that's not tied down.
It is just a bacchanal.
It is. It is. Which is, I mean, there's a whole fucking street there named Bourbon.
That's true. So you can
walk around town with a drink in your hand.
Oh God, yeah, I've done that. Not during Mardi Gras, but
you can. That. One can walk around open carry all over town. It's crazy.
You can also do that in Savannah, which, by the way, I recommend. But it's less New Orleans-y. Still smells like pee.
Oh, so it's got that in common.
Oh yeah. I think if you let people,
if you like heat, humidity, smelling like pee,
and
they're the same place.
Yeah, historic streets. Yeah, for sure. All right, but more importantly, I think so. New Orleans, though, you got the parades, you got the excess, but I think really the important thing, the thing I want to cover before we close the show, is music. And we were talking about this before the show.
We were.
New Orleans is synonymous with jazz and blues and things, but one of the musics associated is Zydeco. Which neither of us listened to, except we were listening to it earlier today. Yeah. But you had a whole theory about Zydeco.
Yeah, because I grew up and I don't know if you guys remember this. Oh my God, this is like a Gen X. I was curious if this was a thing, like if this was a national phenomenon or if it just happened in the South. But there was about a month, I want to say I was around second or third grade, there was a song that became a fucking hit song. And it was a Zydeco song. It was called "Don't Mess with My Toot Toot."
Oh, I vaguely remember that. I don't
remember this.
Yeah, I don't.
Oh my God!
I don't think it became that level of a phenomenon in the
Midwest, it was like Elvira by the Oak Ridge Boys, famous. Okay, do you remember that one being a hit, like globally? Even though it was
but I'm familiar with it.
Okay, well, so this fucking Zydeco song blew up and became like everybody was into it for about a month. and it was called "Don't Mess with My Toot Toot," and it's by somebody named Rockin' Sydney. And you can look him up. But anyway, he looks like Bootsy Collins with an accordion.
All right. All right. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I mean, well, he looks like cross between Bootsy Collins and Richard Petty with an accordion.
Okay.
He's got a hat with a bunch of feathers and shit on it, like Richard Petty. But but he's got a big smile on his face and big glasses like Bootsy Collins. So anyway, that thing. So that was my only knowledge of Zydeco music for years and years. But then, I guess like the Buckwheat Zydeco, that band became marginally famous when the whole world music thing blew up in the late 80s.
Right, yeah.
And I would hear this shit on NPR and always be like, like, I don't care for that. It's not my thing. I never understood it. Like, what's the popularity of Zydeco? And then I was telling Laura, there was an occasion, it was actually right when me and Emily first started dating. It was like our third date. We went to a barbecue festival down in Tryon. And they had a string of bands playing, but one of the bands that was playing was a Zydeco band, and they're playing at this, festival event, and all these people were drinking and they're up dancing and carrying on, and I'm like, okay, I can kind of see the appeal of it now because it's party music is what it is, and I guess if you're not at a party, like if you're in the car listening to NPR and Zydeco music comes on, you're like, God, this is fucking shit, because it's just this crazy, like weird sort of polka jazz bullshit, you're like, I don't want to hear this right now. This is crazy. I don't like it.
Exactly. Yeah, like it's not a style of music I would ever listen to. I'm not even a huge fan of jazz, although in some cases I like it.
Yeah.
But not a huge fan.
There's a time and a place.
Yeah, exactly. But in Zydeco, I feel the same way about. But like usually before Bill shows up, I put on some music on Spotify, like based on the theme of the episode.
Okay.
Like whatever it is. Like when we did our heavy metal, I had a whole hair metal playlist. And I try, some of them are more interpretive than others, like depending on the theme, because some of the themes
sometimes
are,
the theme doesn't have anything to do with music.
So nebulous that it's like, I don't know. But and especially like at Halloween time and Christmas time when all of our themes were. But anyway, so today when you came in, I had Zydeco on because I just put on, Spotify, hey Spotify, play me Zydeco, and it pulled up, like it made it personalized. Like it started out with a song by an artist that I really like that is influenced by Zydeco, but it isn't really a Zydeco. It's more of a like Americana song. And I was like, I had never thought of that song in the context of Zydeco until today.
And then you were like, I can see that.
I can see why this was influenced by that.
What song was that?
It's Sarah Jarosz, who we've talked about before. She's one of my favorite artists. The song is called "Come On Up to the House."
Okay.
And I can see why, like even just in the name of the song, but it has a little bit, because she's got Americana, she's got bluegrass, she's got like that sort of thing. But yeah, it really does.
I've liked I've liked a handful of songs that weren't hard Zydeco, but were Zydeco influenced.
Sure.
There's a song by Mary Chapin Carpenter called "The Twist and Shout."
Okay.
It was a big hit in 92, 93, somewhere like that on country radio. Mary Chapin Carpenter she's the daughter of a former U.S. ambassador, and she's, I guess, ostensibly a country artist, but it was kind of more alt country, sort of. But she had a string of hits on mainstream country radio in the early 90s.
I love Mary Chapin Carpenter.
Yeah. So anyway, if you're not familiar with her, check her out. But that song, "The Twist and," I can't remember. It was a longer title, and then it was "The Twist and Shout" in parentheses or something.
Right.
It's basically kind of a Zydeco sort of thing, and it's a catchy party tune, Yeah,
like, exactly.
Very good tune. And then there's, I guess, Garth Brooks also kind of had like a mild
Zydeco phase.
No, he had one song that it was. I think it was actually a cover song. It was. I think it was a cover of some other popular band, but it was a song called Baton Rouge.
Oh yeah, and you gotta add a little bit of Zydeco into that for sure for the atmosphere.
But anyway, yeah. So so there's been a few like pop hits, sort of, kind of, but they're always kind of Zydeco influence. Never hard Zydeco. That one I was talking about, "Don't Mess My Toot Toot," was probably the only hard Zydeco song that ever became a huge hit.
Sure.
In my knowledge.
Sure. But that reminds me of, do you remember the time when we were in junior high school where Gregorian chants?
Oh, God. Yeah.
And it was all
when you
because
tell
of
kids about that today, they're like, that wasn't a thing. And you're like,
Really?
I assure you it fucking
there
was.
was the new age band
It was
Enigma. Yeah.
And it was all just, you know, and people,
but it was over like an electronic dance.
Yeah,
too.
it was like, oh, yeah, and people fucking loved it.
Well, and then their follow-up album, they did a song that it never got the attention that the Gregorian chant one did, but they had a song that had indigenous chant, which I think would be received better today than it was then, because we're a little more aware. It would have been okay
if Paul Simon had done it.
Well, right, exactly. But I remember that song has always been on my radar. I hear that song in my sleep sometimes.
Oh gosh, really?
Oh my God.
Okay.
Yeah, I do.
That's crazy.
That one I couldn't.
Yeah, it is one of those funny phenomenons that like you're like, wow, that was crazy when everybody was into Gregorian.
Yeah,
chants
there's a meme now. You remember that time we were all into Gregorian chants for a week? Like, yes, I remember. I remember when it came out because my father, he was not a pop music fan. I mean, he was a lot older as a father.
Yeah.
So when I was born, he was already 40. And he was never into pop music. He was into
an old
classical.
man.
Yeah, he was always an old man. He was into classical and things like that. And that song was popular. So
when you started playing that, he'd come in and be like, "That's my jam."
Like, exactly. He's like, "What the heck?" He's like, "This is like," because sometimes on the classical radio station he'd listen to, they would play, songs that actually had legit Gregorian chant in it.
Oh man!
And I remember some of us actually went out and bought actual Gregorian chant.
You know what?
This is amazing.
That explains the popular. I used to wonder this, and this is another one of those fucking. We're gonna go off rails for a sec. Okay. But when I was a kid, everybody fucking owned the Saturday Night Live soundtrack. Saturday Night Fever. Sorry.
Yeah.
The Saturday Night Fever soundtrack. It didn't matter. Like your grandparents fucking owned it.
Yeah.
And now that you mention it, it's because there were disco versions of classical songs on there. Like, so regardless of what their feelings on disco was, although disco is a fairly benign and easy entry level like type of pop music that like everybody can kind of get behind.
We didn't know it at the time.
But it's very likable. But A Fifth of Beethoven, which was one of the tracks on that album, was probably the segue for a lot of people. Like, like, well, I fucking love this. Like, and also it was about the same, like shortly after that, then there was those Hooked on Classics albums, which were like orchestral music over a dance beat.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
And my grandparents owned both of those things, as I recall. So like, I always thought it was funny growing up that like everybody I knew, regardless of how religious they were or how stale you thought they were, they all fucking owned Saturday Night Fever. And I was like, that's crazy that was such a fucking phenomenon that everybody owned it. But now I kind of see like what that was the appeal, because it had its like little tendrils that like everybody could kind of get into it. Like if you were into R&B, it had R&B. If you were into classical, it had classical.
Right.
It had all that shit.
So this entire episode, I guess it makes sense because it's all about excess, right?
Right.
This entire episode has turned into segues about religion and nostalgia and guilty pleasures and all of these things. So speaking of that, we should probably wrap up the main episode because
did we not cover anything that we needed to?
Yeah, I think we got most of it.
All right.
I mean, we didn't really talk about Easter, but
that's coming up. We'll talk about it later.
We'll have a different conversation.
Yeah, it's at the end of Lent.
Yeah, exactly. It is the end of Lent. It's not until April, so we got time.
All right.
But and we have to finish up because we have a very special treat waiting for us.
Oh my gosh.
Because I made Bill has a chicken bog.
Oh my gosh. So guys, and I have to tell you about this is a little side, but it's kind of related. Because chicken bog, which you might not know, I've talked to Laura about it, so she's aware of it, but
I made it.
So chicken bog is a regional, sub-regional, whatever you want to call it, the area of South Carolina that I am from, the PD region. It's our specific type of gumbo, if you will. And there's several types of gumbo all around all around the South, right? Like you got your jambalaya, you got your actual gumbo, etouffees, low country boil.
Right.
And then there's one called Perlo, which is just south of the area I grew up. My grandmother was actually from that area. Chicken Perlo, which so all this shit is actually supposedly what I've read some history. It's all based on paella. The Spanish settlers who came to the south, were trying to make paella. They didn't have everything they needed. They took whatever the fuck was around, some native ingredients, some African ingredients, put some shit together. Bam! They came up with jambalaya or whatever the fuck, and it kind of, as it moved around, it trickled and different things got influenced. Anyway, so the chicken perlo, which my grandmother made, the name may be based on either paella or it may be based on pilaf.
Okay, either one would track.
But anyway, then which all chicken perlo is it's a greasy chicken and rice sort of dish. You usually just throw the chicken neck, which is the leftover bit,
right,
in there with the rice, and you put a bunch of salt and pepper, and you wind up with this kind of greasy salt and peppery rice thing, which I like that one too. I'm not knocking it, but then the one from the area where I grew up is called chicken bog, which is basically it's the same kind of thing as chicken perlo, except for you also add some sausage and some celery, and it's a little gooier, I would say.
That checks with what I just made.
With what you made, yeah.
That's good. That's good.
The rice is supposed to be sticky. Yeah, it's gonna be sticky. Yeah, it's more like a gumbo, but without any sort of like red.
Yeah,
stuff.
It doesn't have. Yeah, it didn't have like tomato.
It's like a white gumbo, if you will.
That's
anyway,
fair.
Just to explain it for everybody, this is what we're doing. And it's only because she's been on this kick about making crockpot recipes.
Well, because we were eating a lot of pizza.
Yeah,
a lot of pizza. I was a little tired of pizza, to be fair. So yeah, I was making crockpot recipes, and he's like, "I got one for you. Make this."
Yeah.
So I'm like,
and
okay.
So speaking of Lent, because this is a thing,
right?
In addition to the pancake dinners at the Methodist Church. The chicken bog is also one of those church fundraiser dinners that they would do. I don't know if they always do it during Lent, but they do it in my area. That's a thing that churches will sell is come get a big plate of chicken bog. And everybody's like, shit, yeah. But this was so popular and I know outside of it's basically like 4 counties in South Carolina that know what the fuck this is. And anybody else like you tell about, they're like, what chicken bog? That sounds terrible. But listen, it's so popular, in fact, that it was on the school lunch menu. It was like at least once a month, probably twice a month. This was something they would serve at school lunch.
Right.
It's just it's a known thing there, and outside of that area, people are like, "The fuck? What are you talking about?" I remember one time that I was working in Charlotte, and I had a coworker, and he said, "Where are you from?" And I said, "I'm from Darlington, South Carolina." He's like, "Oh, so you know what chicken bog is?" And I was like, "I absolutely do." And also, when I moved to Asheville, there's one barbecue place in town that actually makes barbecue the way I like it.
Right.
And I've always been like, I wonder where this guy's from. He's got to be from somewhere around where I'm from.
Right.
One day I went in there and chicken bog was on the menu. And
I was like,
yep, he's from there.
That confirms it. So yeah, I made the chicken bog. We're going to go eat it. But before we're almost done. We are literally past out of time.
We totally are.
But real quick, because we do have things that are extra this week, which was, and I quote, the summer concert series is going to financially ruin me.
Right.
And take it away.
Okay, so this is because over the last 2 or 3 weeks, there have been a litany of announcements of bands going on tour. And I've been like, fuck, well, I want to see that. Well, I want to see that. Well, I want to see that too. And normally my normal reaction to this is I'll see these things and I'll say, well, but tickets are going to be $90 or better.
Right.
And I can just write it off if it's that because I'm not paying that. That's just crazy. And the only band so far that's even been the case for was Depeche Mode. Everyone else, actually, I've gone and looked and it turns out their tickets are like south of 60. And I'm like, well, then I kind of have to go see that, don't I? Like I can't not.
Which, mind you, if you just chose one $90 band, you'd actually be less financially ruined.
Oh yeah, I should just go see Depeche Mode and say, well, now I'm
broke.
That's it. I'm broke. That's it. I spent $1,000 to see Depeche Mode. Yeah. It turns out everything counts in small amounts, people. That's. I've actually every time Depeche Mode shows up in my Facebook feed posting their concert dates, that's my response to it, and it's basically to make fun of them because they wrote a song one time about how.
Yeah.
About greed, basically. And I'm like, haha, yes, that's funny coming from you. You want $1,000 per concert anyway. But everybody else is asking reasonable amounts for the and the other thing is, I guess some of it is, a lot of these bands are aging out. Like this, some of them have announced this is our last tour ever.
Right.
Me and Jay are going to go see Skinny Puppy.
Right.
So they claim this is their last tour. We're like, okay, well, we might as well go see it,
whether it is or not. Yeah,
it was reasonably priced.
Right.
And I'm going to go see Clan of Zymox because they're also reasonably priced. And I've got 3 or 4 other concerts that I'm on the fence about, but I'm probably going to go see them because they're reasonably priced. And then we're going to go see the Pixies with
and
Franz Ferdinand, which was like a huge, it's a great lineup. Yeah. Pixies actually always pick a good opener usually, except for that one time when the Pixies were opening for Weezer. That was stupid. I was like, I'm glad I didn't go to that tour. Actually, that time they were actually asking for like $90.
Yeah, that was an expensive.
It was expensive.
Well, and
I knew the Pixies were going to come out and play 6 songs, and I was going to have to sit through an entire hour and a half of Weezer to hear the 2 songs. Or
leave and have spent $100 just to see 6 songs.
Right, but I knew that the 2 Weezer songs I wanted to hear were going to be at the end of the show.
Right, of course.
During the fake encore.
Yeah, exactly.
And I was like, I don't want to bother with that. So I'm glad this is better because now I'm going to get to hear Franz Ferdinand come out and play the 6 songs I know.
Right.
And then the Pixies are going to come out and play like good stuff. And I'll be like, oh, okay, sweet. And also, again, the tickets were reasonably priced, and they're going to be at Rabbit Rabbit, which is the place with that good beer. So awesome. And actually everybody I fucking know is coming to that show apparently.
Well, and that was the funny part because the reason I mentioned it to you, and of course you had also been hearing it from a bunch of places, was because we had thought about going to see the Pixies Weezer show a few years before.
Yeah.
And it was ridiculously expensive and we decided not to do it.
Right.
And then when I saw this was coming, I'm like, oh, Bill might want to see this. So I mentioned it to you. And at the same time, Matt was talking to 2 other friends, and now like 4 other friends that I know, and like 10 other friends that you know are talking about it. So literally everybody in Nashville is going to be in the show.
And not just like I got friends from Charlotte who are coming over for it because like fuck it, why not? It's cheap and whatever. Anywho's, all I'm saying is at the end of this summer, like I'm going to be so fucking broke because I'm going to go see all these concerts,
right?
Know? And like, could y'all just like. And I'm not even talking like I'm not even going to any of the big festival shows, by the way, where a lot of the other, like, if you want to do that, I'm not knocking it. Go spend your money. Absolutely. 100%. Like, but it's going to cost you $300. On the other hand, you get to see like 60 bands.
Sure.
And at least 15 of them are bands you like. There's one out in California that I got a couple friends who go to called Cruel World.
Uh-huh.
And it's basically all the fucking post-punk and punk bands and new wave bands from the early 80s are all playing at that one. I can't afford the trip out there plus the tickets and all that. I will never go to that one. So that's just too far. My radius is basically like Atlanta, maybe DC, maybe Nashville, somewhere northern Florida. Yeah, if you're further away than that, I probably won't see you,
Right.
But anywho's, there's a lot of stuff going on this summer. I'm sure everybody's seeing this stuff and being like, holy crap. Like I'm saying like within 1 week, there were like 7 or 8 announcements that me and my friends were all like shitting our pants. Like, oh my God, like how can I manage this? And I had to basically pick and choose. There's 2 or 3 I just had to be like, yeah, I'm only moderately interested in that.
Right.
But these other ones, and also it came down to price points, because like I said, Clan of Zymox, for instance, which I'm going to next month, not high on my list of things I must see, but their price point was very reasonable, and they're playing a very small club in Greenville, South Carolina, which is equidistant to my house from Asheville. So I was like, fuck it. Yeah, I'll go down there. Sure. I'll go see it. Why not?
Sure.
So
absolutely. No, yeah, we're going to go see a couple concerts this summer, I'm sure. But to be fair, now that I hate to use the word post-COVID, but now that no one cares anymore.
Yeah, we're at least over caring about it.
We're over caring about it. Travel is going to be what kills me. Like I have trip after trip after trip after trip until May.
Yeah.
And I like after that, like literally I'm not going anywhere until Dragon Con. I refuse.
You're going to be mowing grass.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what.
Running a paper route.
So yeah, travel is going to financially ruin me. But just because I'm ready to get the fuck out.
Oh, everybody is though. Everybody is. I got that on my schedule too. Is like I got a bunch of little short like day trips that I want to do over the next couple months. And
Absolutely.
oh my God, like thankfully one of them's covered, but some of them aren't. We'll see what happens.
Right. Yeah. All right. So
Yeah.
we do have to go. We're way over and we have to
Yeah.
go eat. Bill has a chicken bog.
Yeah.
So why don't you take us away?
All righty. Bill Has Opinions is engineered and produced by Laura Lavoie. The opinions of Bill are his and his alone, unless Laura agree with them, and otherwise vice versa, blah, blah, blah. Yak. I don't know. They definitely don't have anything to do with our sponsor, who is
well, it's us this
us.
year. Which
They
do.
totally have things to do. Stay Shitty My Lord or Stay Shitty My Lady NFT or TFTs, if you will. Be sure to buy those things, by the way.
Yes, please do.
They'll look great in your bathroom. Or, I mean, put them where you put them in the living room if that's your druthers. I don't care.
Or buy a T-shirt. Wear it around.
Yeah, and people will be like, what the fuck's that about? You'll be like, well, it's a long story, but I'll tell you.
Exactly.
Be a great conversation piece. Be great opener at parties, wouldn't it? You know, or at church. It'd be a good way to network with people. You know, so you can sell your real estate or your LuLaRoe. You know, whatever it is you're trying to
yeah, because that'll work. That'll be great.
Yeah. Anyways, that's neither here nor there. Be sure to like and subscribe if you're on YouTube. Be sure to follow us on Facebook. Be sure to hashtag Opinion Gang and talk about us and leave feedback and ask questions and ask us to talk about something else later or whatever. And be sure mostly to tune in, not next week. I don't think.
Not next
week.
And maybe not the week after.
Maybe not the week after.
We'll
but at some point in the near future, we'll let you know when we're getting back together on a Monday night to talk about some things. Yeah. And then we'll do that. We'll talk about those things. And by then we will have all lost some weight from Lent, right?
Yeah,
because we'll have given up something. Not really.
No.
Anyways.
And I do have I was going to talk about it as the following show, but we may have a scheduling situation. But one of the upcoming show is actually a viewer recommendation.
It's manager's choice.
Well, yeah, exactly. Somebody recommended a show topic, and we're going to do it soon. So I will save the experience. All right, so that's it. All right, we'll see you all in a couple of weeks or so.
Yeah. So I was going to mispronounce the French Laissez, Le Bon Temps, whatever it was, Rouler thing. I hope, let the good times roll, people. Have a good time. Stay safe out there. Don't drink and drive. Drink responsibly. This king cake was part of a balanced breakfast. Not really, but if you wanted it to be, you could be, I guess. Whatever that means. That just means you have to have orange juice and a full table of breakfast accoutrements. You ever notice that on TV shows that the mom gets up and she cooks a fucking full ass breakfast, and then the kid comes in and he grabs the toast and he goes, well, I'm late for basketball practice or whatever the fuck, and he just runs out the door, even though she's cooked like an entire table. Like, it's like she cooks like it's Saturday morning, and it's always like a Tuesday though. And the kid just grabs the Pop-Tart and runs the fuck out. Gotta go. And the guy's like grabs his coffee. He's like, see you later, honey. I got a big court date. Whatever. It's crazy. Anyways, we'll see you guys next week.